context here, we have been working with Faherty for a very long time and we have been generating millions of revenue for them. And as you can see, the founder is actually pretty much happy with us. And let's rewind a bit now and actually come back to the story of how Saras approached Faherty or Faherty actually approached to Saras. So what is the actual story behind this?
So we started working with Faherty from 2023, I think August, September, sometime around that. Prior to that, Faherty had no idea that Saras existed. Funny story is that we have been following up with Faherty for more than 5-6 years. Right? It's funny now, but at that time it was not. But the first email was actually sent out by one of our founders. I think Balaji sent out. He reached out directly to the CEO, Alex Faherty. Right? So it's full circle now because we've been following up with them. Finally, they took a chance with us and they're really happy. We helped them in quite a bit of areas. So we implemented customer 360 data infrastructure for them. We implemented customer segmentation. We helped their inventory and operations team with demand planning and forecasting. Right? So we helped their merchandising and product teams. In fact, when they were trying to open an offline retail store, we helped them understand the spread of their customers across the North America region and help them identify a location that's more suitable for this offline store. Right? So we're very happy in terms of the contribution we could make, the number of different functions within Faherty that we could help. And hopefully we'll continue this successful relationship for many more years.
Okay, so for everyone who is hearing this, so let's give them a very brief about like what Faherty is or what the brand actually does. So can you give a very short explanation on that?
Yeah, it's a very popular brand in America. Faherty is a premium clothing company. They also focus on sustainability. Right. In fact, one of the founders of Faherty, Mike Faherty, worked as a designer for Ralph Lauren.
Mm-hmm. Oh, interesting.
Ralph Lauren, yeah. So the Faherty clothing is really good. So premium because I think a piece of article starts about from $100. It goes up to I think $600 or so. Yeah, that's what Faherty is.
Okay.
And they sell both online and offline.
Okay.
They have about I think 70 plus offline retail stores across America. They make more than $250 million in revenue per year.
Okay, pretty interesting to hear such a big company actually approaching Saras. So what was the actual problem that they were facing or why did they actually approach to us? Like what was the problem statement?
So the initial problem statement was they wanted to optimize their customer database. Right? So they came to us, they were using a CDP tool, a customer data platform. But the tool is only as good as the underlying database.
Okay.
Right? And the underlying database of their customers was not, it was suboptimal. So that was the initial problem statement that they came to us with. I think it was a 3-month project.
Okay.
And once that 3 months was over, they were happy, they signed a 1-year contract.
Okay.
Right. In fact, they doubled the team. So we deployed at that time about 2 people.
Okay.
And then they doubled that also. So later we deployed 4 people for 1 year.
Okay. So now let's deep dive into more of like what exactly we did for Faherty. So if I'm not wrong, we have done 3 things our consulting team have done for them. So maybe we could deep dive into that and explain like what each of them are. Maybe you can do
Sure.
that.
Yeah, like I said, we've done several things, but the top 3 that directly impacted their revenue in the short term. The first one was we helped them optimize their catalog strategy. I'll explain that in detail.
Yeah.
The other thing is we helped them with free shipping strategy.
Okay.
That also resulted in I think $2 million per year in savings. And then we helped them with inventory forecasting. Right. So they used to go out of stock on a regular basis, but once we provided this forecasting tool, that helped them with this understocking problem they had.
Understood. So let's move more into the first thing that we were talking about, which is about the catalog that we have helped them with. So can you go a bit more deep into that?
Sure. So what Faherty does is every quarter they send out physical catalogs to their customers. Okay? So there's a catalog and there is a guidebook. Right. So they send this physical assets to their customers every quarter, and from that exercise, on an average, they used to generate $2 million incrementally from those customers. Okay. So in September 2024, when they were doing this activity, they came to us and said, can you help us optimize this? Right. And we implemented certain things there, which we can go into detail about. But that resulted in $3.5 million.
That's pretty huge.
Dollars. So about $1.5 million in incremental revenue.
Okay.
Because of the optimization that we've done.
Okay. So can we go a bit more deep into like what we actually did exactly to make them gain this 1.1 million? Yeah.
So one of the most important things that we did there was optimize their RFM strategy. So RFM, for those of you who don't know, RFM stands for recency, frequency, and monetary value, right? So basically every customer that they have will be ranked on these three factors. One is the recency, so how recent have they made a purchase, right? So they'll be ranked from 1 to 5. And then there is a frequency, how frequently does a customer purchase. So again, that'll be ranked, they'll be ranked from 1 to 5. Similarly, monetary value, what's the total revenue that the Faherty generated from that customer. And so every customer will be ranked on these three factors, and basis that, these customers will be segmented into a particular category, right?
Understood.
So the category could be high value customers. So these are the customers that actually spend a lot of money, make purchases frequently, and also has purchased recently, right? That's the high value customer. Similarly, there is loyal customer, there is customers that are about to sleep, customers that have already churned, right? There are a bunch of such different categories that an RFM model helps us create.
Okay. So just a question to ask here. So you were mentioning about this client already having a CDM or a customer data platform actually, which they were using. So
CDP,
will they be actually be able to do this using the RFM model with that tool?
Correct. So this RFM is available in many of these CDP tools out of the box. Okay. However, the problem here is, which is the problem that every company that is using a CDP or is relying on an RFM strategy will face, which is this RFM needs to be tailored to their business. Okay. I'll give you a couple of examples. For example, the issue the Faherty was facing is in RFM, right, in the monetary value, I told you that the customers will be ranked basis, right, on three factors. So in monetary, out of the box solution was telling that, hey, whoever spends $0 to $50 is ranked 1. So 50 to 100 is ranked 2. 100 to 200 is ranked 3, right? Roughly, this is how it is out of the box.
Yeah.
But Faherty, average order value is about $300, right? So almost all the customers will be seen as, in terms of monetary, right, they'll be ranked really high,
Okay.
right? Similarly, frequency. So it's a premium product, so the frequency also is not that high, right? So these need to be tailored for Faherty, right? Earlier, they were using these out-of-the-box solutions, so the categories were all messed up. So the customers that are in high value are not actually high value customers. The customers that are about to churn were not really about to churn. It's just that that's the normal frequency that one should expect for a premium product like this, right? So our team basically looked at the data and understand what is the business, right, in terms of product cycle, customer decision cycle, etc. So basis that, they created these categories.
Okay.
Right? So basically, it's the same thing, but there are new categories that we created.
Understood.
Called legends and things like that I think our case study talks about in detail.
Yeah.
But there are these new categories that were created, and also what goes into each category, what are those thresholds, are very custom to Faherty.
Understood. So basically, RFM model is not the same for all the brand. It have to be actually tailored for each of the brand based on their use case. So that is what I actually understood.
Exactly. So in case of Faherty,
Yeah.
if someone hasn't purchased in the last 8 months or 10 months, we consider as the churn. But we have another brand that they sell mattresses. Their mattress people buy once in 8 years, right? Once in 10 years. So there, if someone hasn't bought a product in the last year, we won't call them as churn customers. Rather, they belong to a certain different category. So it has to be tailored to that particular product segment or particular business.
Understood. So what was the next step after understanding more about which customers were the best for us, or whom we should target? So what was the next step for us after creating this customized RFM model?
So once we created this, we told them basically, hey, these are the segments that we should send the catalog to, not to every customer of yours, only send to these segments.
Okay.
And also what we did is incrementality testing, which is, okay, in this segment, you have about 1,500 customers. You can just send this to 750 customers, and for the remaining, do not send this.
So is it kind of like an A/B testing, this incrementality testing? Okay, understood.
So we basically formed them into two groups. To one group we sent the catalog, to other group we sent what they usually would have done, which is send the product guide.
Okay.
Right, and from that we saw that clearly the group that we sent this catalog to was performing better.
So we talked about the incrementality testing and the target audience, or the segments of customers that we are actually going to target through this. So can you go a bit deep into what segments of customers have we created for Faherty through the RFM model?
So for Faherty specifically, we created a little over 10 segments, customer segments. Okay, it starts from champions to loyal customers to all stars.
Stop. Download the case study from the link below to know more details about this. Okay, yeah, you can continue. So let's go to the results actually. So we did the RFM model for them. We did the incrementality testing. And so what was the result we actually brought in for Faherty?
So results is, so Faherty does this every quarter of sending out these physical assets to their customers, and they generate about $2 million from this activity, right? So this quarter when we helped them, they generated about $3.5 million
Okay.
from those analytics. So there's an incremental revenue there. So that is one. The other thing is the ad spend also went down. It used to be roughly over $500,000, came down to about $480,000 or so. The return on ad spend went from 7 to 11.
Okay.
So those are some of the really impressive results. And what helped was, or what moved the needle was, so we sent two kinds of assets. One was the catalog, the other was the guidebook. So the catalog activated two customer segments like really well. One was starter customer segment, and the other is one and done. So there was a customer called one and done segment. So those two segments really got activated from catalog. The guidebook activated all stars, and the other is high value customers, I think. So so those are the segments that actually moved in.
Okay, cool. So we were actually able to create a very impactful result for Faherty. So thank you so much for watching the video until here, and download the PDF from the link below to see more details behind the screenshots, the dashboards, and the strategy and the logic behind the RFM model, and to see the segments of customers.
Thank you.
Cool.